When the client came in that day, she actually hadn't taken a pregnancy test yet. She was scared. She was disappointed. She was sad. She said she was too young to have a baby, that she had plans for her life, that she had goals and dreams, and this was not part of it. She was still holding out hope that that test was negative. I told her the test was positive. And in that moment, I could just see the turmoil in her. Her shoulders were weighted down. She was so sad and disappointed. We just sat there quietly and we processed that information together. We just took some time to just be together in that silence. She became overwhelmed and she became tearful. And then she told me, I don't know if I can continue this pregnancy. So in that moment, I did go ahead and offer her an ultrasound. And she said yes. During the ultrasound, she just stared at that screen. She was just in awe because she could see fingers and she could see toes and she could see a heartbeat, and her baby was jumping and moving. Afterwards, I gave her pictures and she was staring at those pictures and she said, I didn't know all that was in there. I thought it was tissue. I didn't know it was a baby, that there's a baby in there. And she said, when I get in the car, I'm probably going to cry. And I said, that's okay. Let yourself cry. Have all the emotions, have all the feelings, give yourself time to process that. And then come back next week for another ultrasound. And she said, okay. I asked for God to give her peace and comfort in those moments. I wanted her to just feel God's presence around her. Her shoulders were a little bit taller. Her head was a little bit higher. I could tell that a little bit of weight had been taken off of her. She was scheduled to come back the next week, and I actually wasn't supposed to be in the center that day. But because of a change of staffing, some different things happened, I ended up being the nurse in the center that day. And so when I was looking at my schedule for that day and I saw that she was supposed to come back that afternoon, I prayed all day long, God, please bring her in. Just be with her and get her here so I can have another conversation with her. And he did. When I went to go get her out of the waiting room, she did a visible sigh of relief. And she said, I almost didn't come today because I didn't think it was going to be you. I didn't want to really talk to anybody else. And I knew that God had orchestrated that moment. God knew that that's exactly where I needed to be that day. And we needed to have that conversation. We went back to the ultrasound room and I asked her how she was feeling. And the woman that I talked to that day was completely different than the first time that I had talked to her. She said she had a completely different outlook on the pregnancy, that she no longer was considering abortion. And she had told her family, she had told her aunt, she had actually brought her aunt with her that day for the ultrasound. She was excited to get the ultrasound. And this time when we did the ultrasound, she was pointing out all the different features and she was smiling. She specifically asked, she wanted a profile picture of her baby because she wanted to be able to take that home so she could look at it whenever she wanted. She told me the first time that I met her that she hated her job, that she never wanted to go to work, but now she says, I'm actually excited to go to work because now I know when I'm making money, I am providing for my baby. I'm taking care of this child that's inside of me. When I gave her those photos after the ultrasound, she just smiled at them and stared at them and she said, I'm so glad that I came in to see you. I don't know what I would have done had I not come in that day because it changed everything. I told her that God wants a relationship with her and I asked if I could pray with her again, and this time she said yes, and she almost visibly jumped out of her chair. She was so excited to pray. It was just a different woman when she left that day.